And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Yggdrasil, Yggdrasil. You know, when I ask people to play this, I say, do you want to play that game about the Norse gods cooperative thingamabobber? Because I don't want to try to pronounce it. Yes, I know I could look it up on the internet. Yes, I know that I should know my pronunciation of things better, but I don't, okay? And you're going to say the same thing. You're going to say, let's play Yggdrasil. Okay, but don't let the name scare you away. In fact, when I first heard about the game, I was like, oh, chalk it up. There's another game with an obscure name of something. But then you look at the picture on this, and whoo, that is a pretty impressive picture. Oh, you can't even see it. I'm sorry. Well, look at the picture. Doesn't that look cool? It does look cool. And, ladies and gentlemen, it's cooperative. Now, cooperative, while isn't 100% accurate with me, certainly is pretty good. And this game is fun. One of my favorite cooperative games is Ghost Stories, where the ghosts are smashing in and you just keep fighting them off, and wave after wave and wave, and you think, we're never going to win, and then you finally do. Yay. This game I've never won, but I still very much enjoy it, and I very much like the mythology behind it, the Norse mythology, and Thor versus Loki, and Odin, and versus Fenrir, and all the different things. You know, I'm mostly coming from the comic book side of things, but I still like it, and this game does an excellent job with superb artwork. Fun, cooperative game. Let's look at it. So here's the game as it's set up. You see this giant tree here, and what we have are 6 of these evil forces, these evil enemies, who are going to be attacking the city. Alright? And they're going to be moving forward one space at a time. And if 5 of the 6 are past this line, you lose. If 3 of the 6 are past this line, you lose. If one of them makes it all the way here to Odin's palace, then you lose. This doesn't seem difficult, but it really is. What players are doing is they're going to be consistently trying to fight them back. If they can get through the deck of cards, which will be over here, and deck cards depends on how many players are in the game. If they can get through this deck of cards without having one of those conditions occur, then the players have won. Now, what players are doing is they are taking the role of the different Norse gods. Each god comes with a special ability. Frigg is actually a one that you can get as a promo somewhere, but these are the ones that are involved in the game. And you can take one of these guys. For example, Thor gets +1 all combats. Odin can look at the top 2 enemy cards and pick which one he wants to go against. And they each have a special ability that they can use. Frey can take 4 actions. Freyja can take the same action twice. I'm sure going to get a lot of emails, I'm sure, about my pronunciation of this game. So what they're going to do, the way the game works, is the first thing a player does in his turn is he turns over the top card here. And this shows what enemy to move forward. So in this instance, Jormungand moves forward 1 space. Now, he also has a special ability, a negative thing that he will do. For example, Loki will make ice giants show up. Some will cause different negative things. For example, the one that just came will make the submerged island over here move that players cannot go to. And they can constantly have negative things. In fact, the farther along that these enemy moves, there's a little lightning bolt here on the board. If they move into these spaces, that thing will happen twice or 3 times. In fact, one of them, Fenrir, is annoying enough that when he moves forward, you have to placate him, or you cannot even take an action. You have to keep rolling the die and get the exact result needed, or else you can't take any other actions. So the first thing you do is you turn over a card. One of the gods moves forward, or one of these enemies moves forward, and then you can take 3 actions. There are 9 different actions that you can take on your turn, but they're going to all revolve around fighting back these gods. In fact, what you're going to be doing is you're trying to collect some heroes of your own to help fight for you. You can get some of these elves from up here to help fight for you, etc. So the different actions you can take is you can take one of these elves from up there. And there's a number of elves up there equal to the number of players plus 1. You can't take these warriors down here, though. What you're doing is, if you notice by the board here, I have 4 different colored bags. These bags correspond to different islands. You can take an action which lets you reach into one of these bags and pull out 3 tokens. So let's say I pull out 3 tokens. Oh, they're all fire giants. That's not good at all. But if I had pulled out any warriors, for example, here I pulled out 2 warriors, I'd keep the warrior and throw the fire giant back in the bag. Now each of these bags starts with a different distribution. The white one is pretty bad. It starts with many more fire giants. But the black one has many more warriors. See, when I pull 3 from this one, I got 3 warriors. And as the game progresses, some of the actions that you can take are pulling the fire giants out of these bags permanently, and or throwing more warriors into a bag so that you can pull more of those out. And of course, these enemies will also mess with the bag sometimes. So that's some of the actions that you can take, is putting more of the warriors in the bag, pulling warriors from the bag, taking fire giants out of the bag, taking elves. You can also move this guy up a track here. And every time you move him up, you then have the option of not moving him and resetting him and then taking the special ability of the spot that he's next to. And that can, the farther up he is, the better it gets. Here you can just defeat one of these ice giants or move a monster back. These ice giants are going to be appearing here, and you're going to have to be fighting these guys. And you fight them just like you fight a normal big bad monster, and I'll talk about fighting in a second. But until you fight these guys, they will cause all kinds of havoc. Some of them will cancel a specific action, and you can no longer take that action until that god's defeated, until that ice giant's defeated. Some will cancel the special ability of your gods until they're defeated. And so they have to be killed so you can go there and fight them. So let's talk about fighting. You can fight these guys, or you can fight this person up here. When you fight somebody, you're going to roll a die, and that's your power towards them. While the enemies are here in this zone here, you simply need to roll 5. Here you need to get a 6 and a 7. The die has 2 blank spots. It has 2 that are 1, has 1 that's 2, and 1 that's 3. So obviously that's not good enough. Before you roll the die, you can spend as many warriors as you want. Whether you need them or not, you spend them. The elves are better than warriors because you can spend them after you roll the die, so you don't use them unless you have to. But of course you only get one of them while you can get more warriors. So you're going to roll the die, you're going to add in the warriors and the elf, and if you take one of your actions over here, you can get specific weapons. Like you can get the Gungar spear, or you can get the Thor's Mjolnir. Boy, I'm really mispronouncing everything. And when you take these, the first time you take a weapon, it's a +1. But later on, when you come back and take the same action, you can switch that weapon in until you get the +2 version of it. And then you can switch the +2 version in for the +3 version if you want. And when you fight that specific enemy, you will have that bonus. So if you have that bonus, plus the roll of a die, plus any tokens that you spend, you then have to equal the number that you're trying to get or be greater of it. And if you do so, then you'll push the monster back. Or in case of the ice giant, you will defeat it. When you defeat ice giants, they have part of a rune on them. If you kill all 4 of the same rune, you can cast that rune, which will give you a powerful bonus. Very difficult to do, but again, if you don't stop these ice giants, they will hinder you. So the game is basically just one of survival. Alright? There's just all different things. Moving the Valkyrie around, collecting the goods, getting around to fighting them. But you have to be careful because these monsters just keep coming and coming and coming. And this is how you can determine how difficult the game is. The game is much more difficult with more players. So if you want to ease your game, you play with fewer players. But you can also stick cards into the monster deck that will just make your life difficult. Each of these normally has a monster moving 1 space, but you can throw some in that will have that monster move 2 spaces, which can be a real pain in the neck. Or you can throw in these really annoying Ragnarok cards, which move all the monsters forward 1. So, which is a pretty terrible thing, and is enough to make grown men cry. But that's basically the theme of the game, is just fighting them back. You fight off wave and wave. These monsters just keep steadily marching forward, and if you can make your way through the deck, you are a winner. Otherwise, they capture and they execute Odin. I don't know what they do. Loki runs around laughing like a maniac, but something bad happens and you all say, you know what, let's play it again. In case you didn't get it from my review, this is hard. In fact, this is one of the hardest cooperative games I have. Now that's going to probably chase away a few people from liking the game because, you know, you do want to win occasionally, and I haven't won yet, you know. Now I haven't played it 20 times or so. I'm assuming we're going to win eventually. We've been so close, and yet we failed. But I can see that we can win. And each game does play out fairly differently. I like the fact that the powers of the gods, while they're very simple, are very diversive. And so I really feel differently when I'm playing Odin as when I'm playing Thor and such. And I really feel that. And I like that there's a whole lot of options. I don't know what it is. I like the pulling the chits out of the bag. I've always liked that kind of mechanic in a game, and it works well here. The game feels thematic. You see these enemies just marching closer and closer, and you're trying to stop them and you push them back. At first you're like, these guys are nothing. We got them. And then a little bit later you're like, you know, maybe these guys are harder than we thought. Then pretty soon you're saying, help me. It's hard, but it's fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. I don't know how many legs it will have. I don't know if we'll still be playing it in 2 or 3 years. But for now, it reminds me a lot of Ghost Stories and an endless wave of monsters that hopefully we can defeat. And that's a good thing.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.